Welcome to USA Global TV and Radio, where our mission is to provide education, entertainment, hope, and inspiration. USA Global TV and Radio connects you with experts and audiences all around the world every single day to help you succeed in business and to live a richer life. Visit us at usaglobaltv.com to learn about career and life-changing training and mentoring programs like the Listening Mentor. Subscribe to our newsletter to stay informed about our special programs and offers. Discover how you can become a guest on one of our shows or a host or producer of a USA Global TV and Radio show of your very own. That's USA Global TV and Radio, where the doctor is always in.
Hello, everyone. Good evening, good morning, good afternoon, good day. We are thrilled to have you. Welcome back to USA Global TV and Radio, where we proudly provide world-class education, entertainment, hope, and inspiration. It's my pleasure to be here today as the host of this show. I'm Dr. JACALYN KERBECK, and our show today is You as a Whole, Body, Heart, and Soul. And we are going to welcome the star of our show, Mr. Justin Mirigliani. He's joining us from New Jersey in the United States of America. Justin, come on out. How are you?
Hey, Dr. JACALYN, how's it going?
It's so good to see you. And you're doing so many things. And the fact that you're doing this show is phenomenal, because you were doing Entrepreneur and so much more. We were doing Take Steps and Kick IBD, which I think we'll be bringing back, hopefully. But you also are a business person. You are the owner and founder of a charity, and you're somebody who really is always out there with his heart. And tonight we're going to talk about social media. You post a lot of heartfelt things that really give people the opportunity to get to know you, which I absolutely love. You just wear your heart on your sleeve and put it right out there. Tell us a little bit about your background as a broadcaster, because I think that's important too. You have extensive experience. You work for QVC and you've done a lot of work on TV. Let's talk about that first, and we'll get into the social media aspect of it.
Yeah, it started in college with radio. I really didn't do TV in college, but I did radio. I was the voice of our basketball team for 3 years, the Cabrini Cavaliers. Cabrini, unfortunately, no longer exists, but we as a group do, and the alumni keeps that team alive and keeps that school alive. But I was the voice of the Cavaliers basketball team, men and women, for 3 years. Did a couple of radio shows. Sports Source was one about professional sports, Phillies, Flyers, Sixers, Eagles. And then we did one Cavalier wrap up, which was a wrap up of all the teams. I actually kicked that show off in probably 1995, and we talked about the teams around the school. And then it was just ironic. I had been doing training for a while, and then one of the companies that I outsource with said to me, "Hey, QVC called us, and they want people who are close, who have any broadcasting experience to be able to go on and work for a computer company and sell these computers. So for 2 years, I was the face of that computer company on QVC, and it was just an amazing experience. It's my sizzle reel is on YouTube. I look a lot younger. This is going back to 2004 and 2005. It was also unfortunately the time where I was heavily on steroids because of the ulcerative colitis. So you can see I have a gigantic head back then, and no beard. So it's kind of weird to see, but it's a moment in time, and it was something that was neat to be able to do, and just being in the green room and waiting for your show, and a lot of late nights. I remember my first night I did, I think it was 10 p.m. on Saturday night, and then maybe midnight Sunday morning, and then 3 o'clock Sunday morning. So I did 3 shows. And you would think that at 3 o'clock in the morning, who is buying a computer? How are you going to sell computers at 3 o'clock in the morning? Well, we sold out. The show was supposed to be an hour and went 40 minutes, and we actually had to cut it. So had probably made 50, 60 appearances on QVC, and it was something that was really neat, and I made some good friends from it, and I'm in contact with some of the hosts that were there. I was considered what we call a guest. Their whole thing was it was a backyard fence conversation. That's the training that they gave us, that they wanted us to do it as a backyard fence conversation, that you're just talking to your neighbor, even though you're talking to potentially hundreds of millions of people at a time. And the cool thing about QVC is they are live 100% of the time, except for, I believe, Christmas, and it might be New Year's Day. I think there are only 2 days a year where it's not live. It's live 24 hours a day, 7 days a week, except for those 2 days. I think it's Christmas. I know it's Christmas, but I think New Year's as well.
It's amazing the journey that you've had. And if you think about QVC and how it's grown exponentially, and I don't know if it's still in the same place, but it was headquartered in Westchester, PA. Is it still there?
That's where it is. Yes, Studio Park. And I sold computers to people who were on the shows. Like, remember Potsy from Happy Days?
Oh, sure.
Anson Williams.
That's awesome.
I sold him a computer. Supermodel Carol Alt.
Of course.
Yeah, sold her a computer.
Wow. So
She said,
you were in this
where's
celebrity
the
world
computer guy?
at the beginning. The computer guy, like the insurance guy,
Yeah.
whatever his
She
name
didn't
is.
know my name. She's just like, where's the computer guy? I got to ask him if this computer's good enough for me. I was like, yeah, sure.
Justin, I remember interviewing you. I want to say it was 2019 when I was with RVN Television, and I just knew you were such a natural. And I'm just so glad that you've joined our platform, and you've been here since the beginning as well. So let's talk a little bit about social media, because you and I both know, especially for this platform, I'm on social media all the time. Our shows are on social media as well as other places, but social media is a huge part of what it is that I have to do every day. And for many people, it's something that is overwhelming. It's something that's troubling. It's problematic. And for other people, it's like, oh, look at me now. Look at me here. I mean, I just did yesterday, I just did a picture of me on the leg press, like just a random photo. I don't know why. I'm like, yeah, take the camera and take a picture of me doing a leg press for no specific reason. So I have to embrace social media all the time because it's part of what it is that we're doing here. But there's pros and cons to it. Can you remember when you first started on social media and what platform it was?
First started on social media with Facebook probably in 2009. I really wasn't looking to get involved with it. I remember MySpace had come out, and I didn't join that. I was like, whatever, it's not anything to. And I really didn't. I was short-sighted. I didn't see the value of it. But I look at it now, and I joined Facebook in 2009, and then of course LinkedIn came in. I joined LinkedIn, and then Instagram for pictures and things like that. And then of course I think I'm more of a visual and audio person. I like to see movement. So I have several YouTube channels. I have a YouTube channel for my own personal stuff that I like to watch. I have one for the world's strongest ostomy because I'm a power lifter and a weightlifter with an ostomy, which is rare in this day and age. I have one for my weather predictions and also archives of different weather events. I have a, I wouldn't say a huge following, but I have a following on Facebook for folks who are into meteorology or into weather. I'm a fan of meteorology. I really, if I could go back in time, probably would have been a TV meteorologist if I could. But um, and I have X. I have all of them. I don't use that much. I use it very sparingly. So it's a double-edged sword, I think, in a lot of ways. I think I like to start with the bad because I'd rather end it up with the good. The one of the things, and I've been very open about this on social media and very open about this on this platform as well, that I struggle with depression, anxiety, and OCD. And that's been that way since I was born. I mean, really, from my first memories, I can remember that. And social media has been helpful for me in some ways because it's allowed me to open up and share some of these things. And I know people might say, well, you have family and you have friends. Why don't you just share it with them? Why would you need to broadcast it to the, 1,000 people or in my case, a few thousand people? Um, it there's something about getting the aspect from somebody else who doesn't know you quite as well, or maybe people who haven't seen you in a while might see you differently than the people who see you every day. I think that that's one of the things that happen with social media. So I talked to my psychologist, and one of the things he says is to me, um, don't always, and he's right. When you look at social media and you see all the people with their happy pictures and life is wonderful and everything's going really, really well and everything's perfect. Remember, it's an illusion. It's not always really what's happening behind the scenes. So I try to be raw. I try to share the things that would normally be behind the scenes because I want people to know that life isn't easy and that it is difficult to get through it. And there are going to be times where you feel like you're out. I've gone through a lot over the last few years, especially. I mean, tomorrow will be the 10th anniversary of my surgery where I had my colon removed and had the ileostomy. So that's, I'm sorry, 9 years, not 10 years, 9 years tomorrow. Yeah, so again, to start with the bad things, the things that are a problem. I being OCD, I think why would anybody want to listen to me, no matter what? And even if I post something and I get a lot of people to watch it, or if I get a lot of people to comment on it, and they say really nice things about the video or whatever it is at the time, um, I'm always wondering in the back of my head, is it too much me? Do they really like it? Is it really something that's helping people? Is it really something? Am I doing it for the right reasons? Am I doing it because I want to help people? Am I doing it just to help myself? And I think there's probably a little bit of both in there. Uh, so you, I always wonder in my own mind, and again, I think it's the OCD part is how many people look at it and say, "Oh, here he is again posting, another issue, another problem, another uh, negative thing." And so I try to keep a balance of doing the positive and negative. But from when I'm happy and I'm feeling good, it really doesn't phase me if I don't get people to react or if I don't get people to engage. When I'm down and I'm out and that happens, it's a little harder. I can feel like, wow, maybe I am on my own. Maybe people are tired of hearing of it and just thinking, gee, he's constantly on the negative. He's never on the positive, and, people reassure me that that's not the case. That's just my own personal thinking. But I think it's hard not to think of that. I think people do. There's also the problem, of course, as I mentioned in last week's show about children and the internet and social media and what's said about them. You know, my youngest daughter, somebody called her ugly on social media, and somebody sent her an inappropriate picture, and those are things that are just, as a parent, upsetting to have to see that. So that's certainly a drawback with social media.
Absolutely.
Yeah, I mean it's just it's frustrating, but you know I really do think that the good outweighs the bad. Um, Maybe this is my fault. I have a problem myself getting wrapped into other people's problems. I think I have a tendency to feel it because when you have depression, anxiety, and OCD, you do tend to empathize more, I think, which in some ways is a good thing, but in other ways it's not because it plays on your mind. I'll give you an example. There was a kid from Newfoundland, believe it or not, Newfoundland, Canada, and he reached out to me and he said, I'm autistic and I have Crohn's disease and I need to have an ileostomy. And on top of that, his dad raped him and also left the family. And like it's like, wow, I'm laying in bed that night thinking about that kid, and I tried to talk to him, and I don't think he really understood exactly all the things that I was trying to say to him. And I told him it'll be okay, that having an ostomy is going to be all right. He's going to get through it, and he's going to make it fine, and he'll have a good life. And I stayed away from the other issues because I'm not prepared to answer things like that. But it wears on me when things like that come up, or when friends post things that I know are painful, and it's difficult for me not to think about them and to put myself in their position. Somebody writes about an illness that they've come down with. Somebody has cancer, somebody has this or that, or Crohn's, colitis, diabetes, whatever. Yeah, I've been there, so I know what it's like. I know what it feels like, and it could take me a couple of hours to get that out of my head. That's the OCD part of me that just gets stuck with it. So those are negatives for sure. Those aren't happy things. It's good that there's a place that people can reach out. It's good that there's a place that people can try to find solace and just talk about it. Sometimes I don't know about how you feel, but sometimes I feel when I'm having problems, I feel like I'm running around in circles. I don't know where to go next. Like going from one chair to another, just trying to find peace, trying to find a way to calm myself down, to find inner peace. And sometimes that comes in the form of just reaching out to people, and social media allows you to do that. Like I said, over the last several years, especially the last 9, I've taken a couple blows to the head. Having the bag certainly wasn't something that I was looking forward to. I didn't know that it was going to be this easy. I thought it was going to be something that was going to be much more traumatic. So I think um, we're looking into the possibility that I do suffer from post-traumatic stress. I mean, not to the point of like, a veteran, but certainly I dream about it. I think about it. There have been other personal things, and I share most of my personal problems with people. I don't have a problem doing that because I think that helps other people know that they're not alone. I always wondered, was I the freak? Was it me who was crazy? Because I had all these problems and saw a psychologist and was on medication and Still am today, and still do see the psychologist. But more and more, it's almost everybody. It really, I guess it's almost like a cold. Everybody gets a cold eventually. So mental illness is not something that's kind of isolated to just a few people. I think it's something that everybody suffers from time to time for different reasons. Some people, I talked to a buddy of mine last night, and he said he'd never been depressed. He'd been happy his whole childhood and college, and got depressed after college, and is now on medication, and struggling with it and doing better, but uh, contemplated suicide, and as I admitted, I have as well, at times in the past. And um, I think that's why I put those things out there so people know that they're not a freak. They're normal. The feelings are normal. What you do with them is what's important. You don't take a chance on taking your life, and you don't do something that's crazy. But all in all, I think it's pretty good. But again, I wonder. I never want to come across as showy. I'm proud of. I post things that I'm proud of. I don't understand the idea when people say, I don't care what anybody thinks about me. I do what I want. It doesn't matter to me. I think that's crap. I think that everybody cares what people think about them. I don't think there's a person on earth that doesn't at all care what other people think about them. So yeah, I do post things on there like you did with the leg press. I thought that was, pretty cool. I did see it. But on the World's Strongest Ostomy channel, I had myself bench pressing, over 325 for reps and things like that. And yeah, I'm proud of it. I mean, um, you don't want to come across as cocky, and that's, I think, one of the worries that you think, oh, gee, am I come across as being cocky or arrogant? And that's really not really why I do it. I think I want to inspire people to. I mean, do I like hearing "great job"? Sure. I mean, doesn't everybody? I mean, I think that's a pretty normal reaction. I don't think that that's out of the ordinary at all. But yeah, I think it's a game in some ways that you have to play where you don't put up too much and saturate everything, and then you also put up enough for people to see it. Like promoting the show is important. I mean, I have to promote the show now because of some personal reasons. I haven't been using Facebook that much, LinkedIn mostly, and YouTube a little bit. But even I can't always articulate why I am not able to talk about certain things, because especially if it involves any other people, family members, friends, I'm never, ever, ever going to be somebody who's going to post other people's information or post something that I know that they wouldn't want me to post. So there are times where I, will put up something and say, I'm having a personal problem, like I did today. Actually, I said, I feel bad because I'm really into wishing everybody a happy birthday. I write really long birthday posts to everybody because I don't want to just say happy birthday. I want to write to them long enough so that I could think about them. And when I write to them, I think about like maybe something we did together or something that I remember about them or some memory that we had together, a shared moment. And um, I haven't been able to do that in September that much. I've been trying to look as much as I can, but I haven't really gone on and haven't really acknowledged much of people on Facebook. And I haven't posted much of my own stuff on Facebook either. So that part also leads to guilt and feelings of isolation that I'm struggling with now, and that's again one of the negatives. But with every negative, there are also positive things that come from it. Relationships that probably would have been lost for forever have been rekindled because of the internet. Uh, I got to visit my fourth grade girlfriend. This past weekend in Connecticut. I was up in Connecticut at a weather seminar, and it sounds fun, doesn't it? It was a weather seminar that there were a lot of meteorologists and climatologists up there, and we'll get into that on another show because it's a dire situation that we're in right now. I can tell you, it was pretty chilling from what you hear from these experts, and the scary thing is it's unanimous. It's not like one or two of them dissent. It was there were about 18 or 19 panelists, and every one of them was in total agreement. So that really does kind of give you pause. But in any event, I was up in Connecticut, and the girl that I was my girlfriend in fourth grade. She lives in Connecticut, and I haven't seen her in a long, long time, since the 90s. And I was able to drive down and meet her and her family, her husband and her two kids, and it was really, really neat. And one of the things that I think that we have lost because of the internet is the importance of physical connection, personal connection. It's different to hug somebody, to look them in the face, to talk to them, to touch them, to feel them, to shake their hand, whatever it is, to make a human connection, than it is to be virtual. I mean, virtual is great and it's a wonderful thing. It really has helped keep people together. And I might have lost track of Christina if I didn't wasn't on social media. Who knows? Maybe we would never have seen each other again. But I feel lucky that I do have a good friend for 40 years, that's in my life, and other friends too. I mean, there are a bunch of friends, and uh, with Cabrini closing, it's nice to have my Cabrini family. A lot of people who I really cared about in school that, again, I probably would have never talked to again or never seen again, and now I could see them and talk to them, and we could see how each other are doing and pick each other up when things are going bad and when people are down, and that's important to me.
Thank you, Justin. There's a lot to unpack there with what you just shared. And of course, what I always love about you is that you do lead with your heart and you just say it the way that it is. And the one thing I'd like to just propose, I am a certified coach, so I'm just going to propose something to have you think about it, is I saw an interview that Jerry Seinfeld did recently, and I believe it was in reference to him having a birthday and turning a certain age. And I think they had a huge party from when he was 65, and when he turned 70, he said, we're never going to be able to outdo this. And the interviewer said, what do you think is one of the greatest changes that you've experienced at this age? And I'm just paraphrasing, so Jerry, if you're out there watching, thank you, I hope I got it right. But basically he said he just doesn't care what people think. And I know what you just said about that. And my proposition for you to consider is, what if you started to care less? Not to not care, but maybe have some boundaries in terms of where that caring stops and where that caring starts. And I'll give you an example. So social media has really changed my life in a lot of ways because I'm now connected with people from all over the world. We have team members literally from all over the world. And I've been invited to speak in London at a conference in November. And somebody reached out to me today and said, how could you, I saw on social media, that you're going to go to London. How could you possibly go there by yourself? I mean, you are alone and meeting all these people you've met on a screen, and you're just going to do it by yourself. And I said to the person, what's coming up for you that you are bringing this up? And it turned out that this person wants to go on vacation and has no one to go with and could never imagine having the strength to go on vacation by themselves. So I thought to myself, I don't really care what this person thinks because I'm 61 and I've earned the right not to be judged by other people. So that's all that I'm just going to share about that. It's so liberating. It's not that you don't care about people. It's not that people aren't important to you, but I'm not going to have my life disrupted or upended based on what someone else thinks about what I should be doing or where I should be living or how long my hair should be, because people have something to say about everything. So that's what I'd like to just put out there and get your thoughts. And by the way, we do have a comment from Lee Stasny. Such important information. Thanks for being here today. Appreciate you. So Justin, what comes up for you with what I just shared? And you can tell me to go pound sand if you want. It's your show.
No, of course not. I agree with a lot of what you said. I think what my worry is that if all right, if somebody posts something personal and I read it, I have a compulsion to react to it with some kind of the love symbol or the caring symbol, because I don't want anybody to ever think that I don't care. I think that's where I'm coming from. I don't want anybody to ever think that, gee, I put this up and they put it up for a reason. I know they put it up for a reason because I put things up for a reason. And I want them to know that I care. And I also, like, on my birthday, for instance, it takes me all day, but I thank everybody individually for every wish that I get, every birthday wish that I get. I thank one by one, and it could be a couple hundred of them, and it takes a long time, and it's not easy. I mean, it's a lot of typing and it's a lot of cutting and some copying and pasting, of course, but that's what I mean by worry about what they think. If they don't like my hair, or if they don't like my beard, or if they don't like that I look a certain way, that's a different story. Or if they say, hey, he's got a bag, and he's a freak or whatever, that kind of stuff. I mean, that wouldn't make me happy, but that's not going to ruin my day. I think it's more of the personal stuff. I want. Uh, I think I crave. I don't want to say attention, but the compassion of friends to know that they're there, a feeling of security that there are people behind me, that if I'm going down, that I'm not going down alone, that there's somebody behind me to catch me. And I want to be that for other people as well. I think that's what I mean by when people say I don't care what other people think of me. Usually when people say that, a lot of times they say that in a way like, well, I come from South Philadelphia, and I'm not knocking South Philadelphia. I love growing up there. I had a great time. I know I have a lot of great friends from South Philly, and most of the people are wonderful people, but there is a certain amount of prejudice that is there, um, especially racial prejudice that I know neighbors had expressed. And one of the things that they'll say to you is, if I would say to them, well, listen, first of all, it wasn't right 40 years ago. It's still wrong today. It's even more wrong today because we're smarter, we're more evolved. And then their answer might be, well, that's how I grew up. I don't care what people think, like, you don't have the right, in my opinion, to just be and do whatever you want. And no matter what it does to other people, and then expect them to not be offended. Or people say, oh, I don't care if I offend anybody. Well, why would you not care? Why would you? Why would it be your goal to offend people? Why would you want to offend people? I'm not saying you going on a trip by yourself. Of course, I mean that's if somebody thinks that's weird, then they think that's weird. I've gone on trips by myself too, and I would prefer to have somebody with me, but that's because I'm not. That's just my preference. But if I'm alone, I could still enjoy myself. Um, but I think that sometimes that thought of I don't care is pointed. It's something that people say in a way that's like, well, that's their problem. Like, if somebody's offended, well, that's on them. Well, not really. I mean, some things are offensive, and they're always offensive, whether it's not the other person's problem. If somebody's a racist, it's not the person of color who's at fault here. I mean, it's the person who's the racist. And you can't say, well, that's just the way I grew up, and that's the way my father was, and that's the way my grandfather was, and that's the way his grandfather was, or whatever. It doesn't matter. It doesn't matter. You have to look at what life really is and say, what's right and what's wrong.
Okay. I appreciate that. Again, just putting it out there. I have a little bit of a different perspective on some of what you just shared. But one thing I think that's really important is how we show up when there are differences. So for example, on social media, any day of the week, you can find one person who believes A is absolutely the correct way to go, and somebody else believes B. And then you can see people posting hateful things on both people's feeds. And so my reaction is I no longer want to follow you or you, and I just unfollow them. I don't get angry. I don't put a comment down. I don't go, hey, I don't know who you think, because everyone's entitled to share how they feel. But how we react to how somebody else is behaving, to me, says a lot about what's going on with us. So at this tender age of 61, with chronic disease and illness in this fabulous container that I have just decided that I'm not taking on everybody else's stuff like I used to. And it sounds like that's what you're saying, that that's coming to you. And also, just, I probably shouldn't even be saying this on social media, but when I've been going to different doctors and you have to fill out the forms, and every year you have to do the information, when it says in case of emergency contact, and I put no one for every, because I don't need to burden anyone else with whatever would go on with me. And I know that that's upsetting to some people, and I'm not being selfish. I'm just being me. I'm being me, doing what I feel is right. Of course, I'm all about other people. You know that. I have a huge heart. I love collaboration. I love connecting people. But when it comes to taking the path that I'm going to take, I'm no longer looking to see, do I have 200 likes? I don't even care. I just put it out there. And if it resonates with somebody, then that's great. And if it doesn't, then that's great too. So I think social media can have our reaction to social media can also have an evolution depending on what's going on with us in our life. And certain things may really hit us harder than other times. I'm a coach, as you know, and I remember when I first started coaching in 2018 or 2019, I literally would be crying. The person sharing something with me, and I'm crying, and I'm thinking, I am horrible at this job, because the person doesn't need someone crying. They need someone to listen. And I think so much of the discord that we have in this world is that people are not listening to one another. We are judging each other. If somebody doesn't like what you like, then they're no good and they're wrong, instead of trying to understand what their perspective is. And I'll just leave with this last comment and then go to you. We have 55, 56 shows here now. I don't even know. And I produce a lot of them because I like to have the connection with you and, people who are on our team. There are plenty of things I do not agree with that nobody would ever know. I just keep my mouth shut and I just produce the show. As long as the host is listening to the guest and everybody's following the protocols that we've set up here, it's not my place to make a judgment or an opinion. And by the way, that's a huge weight off my shoulders. Thank you. So let's go back to you for anything that I said that might resonate or not resonate.
No, it does resonate because I have, as I've gotten older, I'm 49. So I'm closing in on 50 in December. And my political opinions, I was very vocal about them for a long time on Facebook. And I even had dedicated a lot of time to a webpage 4 years ago. And it caused a lot of strife and hard feelings with other people. And I said and did things myself. And I'm not saying I'm a victim. I was guilty. I wasn't a victim. I chose to do these things. I made people offended. I hurt people, and I have backed that out and decided that I had to make a choice. At the time when I was doing it, I thought I was doing the right thing. I thought I was doing the right thing because I thought if you fight for what you believe is right, that's what you're supposed to do in life. And maybe fighting isn't the answer. Maybe it's trying to reason and trying to, not be angry. What people who had different opinions than I did that we fought, I mean, they said nasty things to each other and really got heated. But yet, when I was going through and have struggled with the depression, would call me up and see how I was doing, or invite me to a party, and I'd be at a party with them, and we wouldn't even talk about that. So I think social media, we're more likely to say things that we probably wouldn't say to somebody in person. I think that goes without saying. I don't think I'm really setting the world on fire by telling you that. But I think friendship and caring about other people and maintaining positive relationships is more important than fighting for my own political beliefs. Now, somebody else may disagree with that. There are people who say, I'm going to say whatever I want, and if people don't like it, they don't like it. And that's okay. I mean, if they want to do that, that's fine. I just wanted to make that difference because I would lay in bed at night and I would feel guilt for some of the things that I said, and I would feel sad about some of the things they said. And I've apologized to a lot of people, and luckily, a lot of people have forgiven me for things that I've done, things that I've said. And there have been a few who haven't. There have been a few, and I'll be honest with you, it does bother me. No matter, even if it's not a super close friend, if it's somebody that I went to school with, or somebody I uh, knew way back when, and we were friends, and now they look at me as a pariah because of the things I said that were in disagreement with them. And I ask for forgiveness, and they can't grant it, which they don't have to. I mean, that's their decision, and I don't begrudge them that. But I wish it could be different. I wish that people would be able to overlook transgressions. And I don't think I've always been great at that myself. I think it's taken time to get better at it. I think that I've struggled with it. Um, yeah, I mean, the empathy part of me is tough. It really is something. I mean, my psychologist, I might have mentioned this on the show before. He said that if there was a world champion in guilt, he said you would be the world champion. He said you are the ultimate guilt machine. If you can't fix somebody's problem, or at least make something a little better, or if you hurt somebody, or if you do something that you shouldn't have done, it eats at you and it kills you, and it just chews you up, and it does. I mean, I can tell you it. I'm going through some guilty things right now that are in my life that I look back 9 years ago, and 9 years ago, I was literally disemboweled. I had my large intestine removed. And part of me thinks to myself, gee, wouldn't it be great to be back there? Because back then, I was doing better mentally, as far as guilt goes. I had my guilt more in check. So I mean, to me, emotional pain and guilt kind of go together. And physical pain, I don't like it. I think it's ridiculous when people say, "Oh, I love pain. I'm a tough guy. I love pain." I don't. Who wants to get hurt? I mean, it does. Nobody likes to get hurt, but they say that, to act like a bad, tough guy. But emotional pain to me, oh my gosh, it's so much worse. I mean, y- it there are times I feel like I'm melting into the couch. Like my whole body's melting into the couch because I'm just so laden with guilt about things. And that's tough. I mean, it really is. It takes a toll on you physically, emotionally. You dream about it. Um, so I mean, uh, so many people think that I have everything under control, looking from the inside out. when I really don't. I mean, there are things that are out of my control that I can't, like, for instance, I'll tell you right now, and this is not something I'm very happy about at all. I was supposed to have the biggest week of my professional career this week. I was supposed to make the most money I've ever made in a week this week. I was supposed to make $20,000. I'm not sorry, this month, not this week. I'm sorry, this month. I was supposed to make $20,000 this month. That was what was on the slate. And because of some different situations, I lost 18 of it. So I'm going to make $2,000 this month. And, you know, I don't feel guilty about that, but man, it is hard to lose 18 grand when you're a working person. It's a six-figure business, yeah, but I'd like it to grow. I mean, I would like to get to a quarter of a million. I'd like to get the half a million. And when you lose $18,000 in a month, that sets you back. So, things like that depress me. They get me down. I question myself as a business person. Am I a really good business person? Am I really worth it? Um, and again, guilt of things. I exploded at my youngest daughter. She brought a $38 bottle of perfume. Why she has a $38 bottle of perfume at 13 years old, I don't know. I mean, we must be crazy, but she wanted it. She bought it. She used her own money, and then at school, it really frustrates me. But people steal, and she's had a lot of stuff stolen from her. And somebody took the bottle, and she lost $38 bottle of perfume. And she came home just crying, screaming, and having a fit, and going crazy. And as her anxiety ramped up, and she did that, my anxiety was ramping up, and she was just blowing up, and then I blew. And I said, let's look in your school bag. And I'm yelling, and I ripped open her school bag, and I shook it out. I shook everything out of the school bag. I'm like, look in this thing. And, maybe you didn't put it in, and I'm yelling, why are you taking $38 bottles of perfume to school? And she's upset. And my, I noticed that my anger was coming from anxiety. Like I talked about last week when we talked about anger. And then after a few hours, the guilt was just enormous. I mean, I'm driving in the car, and I'm like, oh my God, I wanted to, drive into a tree. I was just like, I just felt like, how could I do that? She was already upset, and I, as a parent, failed her. So when I got home, I sat her down and I told her, I said, I just want you to know, me have a problem when I get anxious, when I lose it with anxiety. It manifests itself as an outburst of anger. I said, and that's what you saw. I said that I wasn't angry at you. I was angry at the thought that you were so upset. And the more upset you got, the more anxious it made me. And I wound up doing something that, being over the top. Now, did I hit her? No. I mean, was I physically abusive? No. Was I mentally abusive? No. But I was overly angry. So, I look on social media and I see things that I've said, and I justified it with, well, my position's right, that righteous justification. And then I look back and say, man, why did I say that? Why didn't I think about that first before I did it? And just like this past week with the perfume.
Justin, my heart goes out to you. I know you always have the best of intentions, and we're actually out of time. But what I want to share is just a repeat of what I said earlier, and hopefully this will help someone out there. Is how we respond to a situation. How we respond. In other words, if there is a fire burning and we throw fuel in the fire, it's just going to get higher and higher and higher. And so we're so used to doing that. Somebody says something that we don't like or that upsets us, and we come back with, we're being defensive or offensive. And instead, imagine being a brick wall. Someone's upset. They're saying what they're upset about, and you just listen. listen without judgment, listen without providing a solution. And it's a difficult thing to do. I know I work on it every day and I still have more work to do. But what I found is I'm really leading my life wanting to be healthy, knowing I have illnesses and knowing that stress doesn't help any of it. So how is it possible to have a less drama in our lives by being a brick wall and by listening and not helping the fire grow higher? So I hope that helps somebody out there. I don't know. And Justin, we are going to be back next week, but tell people, how can they reach out to you? And also, before we go, we're going to be running a special clip that we have, and tell us about that as well.
Yeah. So you can reach me at Justin at checkmatescharity.com, or Justin at just for you, JUSTYOFORYOUTC.com. My cell number is 610-324-5545. So you can call me. You can see me I'm on almost all social media, Facebook, although I haven't been checking it much, as we said earlier, LinkedIn, YouTube. You can find me there. You can find me on Instagram. And what we're doing is we have a really star-studded event coming up in August 23rd, 2025. It's going to be an NHL celebrity hockey game. We have some major NHL stars, provided their schedules work out. I mean, that's the one thing that is always an unknown when you're working with people of high profile, is, things can change dramatically, especially if they're coaching in the NHL. But Mark Recchi, former Flyer great, will be there. Possibly Rod Brindamore, Kevin Dineen, Brian Propp, who's a friend of mine, Chris Terrian, who's a friend of mine. Good people, solid people who really are wonderful, to help us raise money for Rolf Benershka, his charity, which helps people with an ostomy. It's called Embracing Ostomy Life. It's based out of San Diego, California. He was a kicker for the San Diego Chargers, developed ulcerative colitis, had multiple surgeries, and kicked in the NFL with an ostomy bag for 7 years. He was the first person that gave me hope that there would be life after ostomy. Because I'll tell you, when I was 40 years old and I was staring down the barrel of tomorrow, it was one day, it'll be 9 years tomorrow. I thought, that's it, put a fork in it. 40 years, well, I had a good run. But when I thought about Rolf and that fact that he could kick in the NFL, it gave me hope. And he's going to be there, hopefully, and the money will go there. The money's also going to go to CHOP, Children's Hospital of Philadelphia, to their inflammatory bowel disease and GI department, because I know of an infant who was born with inflammatory bowel disease, and I said, not on my watch. This stuff's not going to happen. I can't do anything scientifically. I'm not a doctor. I don't have the answers, but I sure as hell can raise money and awareness. And, I've been blessed enough to have contacts with some high profile people. A lot of that's luck. It's not me bragging or name dropping. It's, it fell into place. I think divine intervention might be part of it, in my opinion. And we're gonna August 23rd, 2025, have that big game, and then a party afterwards, open bar for 2 hours. It's all in Pennsylvania. Aston, Pennsylvania is the hockey game, and then Havertown at the Yard Pub, we're gonna have the party. Open bar for 2 hours, and then a buffet, and the players will sign. And I've done this before. This isn't our first rodeo, and this one's the biggest and the best that we've ever had planned. It's just going to be amazing. And if you're a hockey fan in the area, or even if you're not that close, if you can take the drive, it'll be well worth it. Come and meet these guys, and just let's celebrate life. The rink. I keep saying on social media that the rink holds 1,000 and the restaurant holds 700, and I want 1,000 hugs at the rink and I want 700 hugs at the restaurant. And in order for that to happen, I need you to come and buy tickets and be a part of it, or volunteer, and then you don't have to buy a ticket. So please be a part of that.
Thank you, Justin. We're going to show that clip. I want to end with just a compliment to you. As you know, I think it was last week, I told you in the middle of the night, I was on Instagram and I saw this doctor had put together this video. I'm not going to say his name, but I started watching it a few times, and it's about gut health. And finally, I thought, you know what, I'm just going to watch the whole thing. I know it's going to be long. I would get like 3 minutes in, then 5. So I watched the entire thing. And then at the end, I thought, you know what, maybe these supplements are what I need. So this is about social media, right? Seeing something on social media. So not only did I order 1 bottle, but I ordered 3 others because act now and get this special pricing. And so I happened to mention it to you after I already received it. And you gave me a completely different perspective and turned me on to another YouTube channel where they actually review this doctor. And so I ended up getting a credit because I checked with my own doctor and he said, no, you shouldn't be taking that. So the point is, there was something positive that came out of social media. And so I just want to thank you for that, because if it weren't for you giving me that guidance, I'd be taking this stuff that I don't even know what it is, and I'd have more money out of pocket. So
well, I'm glad I could help. I know it's the problem with the internet, of course, is that people can put up whatever they want. They can say whatever they want. There's no jurisdiction. So
very true. It's a very convincing video for I'm sure there are people out there who have watched this doctor about gut health. So we're going to watch your clip right now, and then we'll be back next week. So thank you to everyone who's watching or listening. All of our shows also become podcasts. So if you're not able to watch them live, you can watch them on the replay. You can go to our YouTube channels. You can go to Roku. You can go to Zizzle. You can go to Amazon. Some of our shows are on E360 TV, and you can also listen to them on Spotify as well as other podcast platforms. All right, let's take a look.
Hey everybody, I just want to tell you how thankful I am that you came out tonight and helped us out on a very special evening. Crohn's and colitis are terrible diseases, and they affect a lot of people, not only in the Delaware Valley, but all over the world. And hopefully we can find a cure someday.
Lou Nolan here with you at the Checkmates versus the Flyers alumni. We had a great time this afternoon. Game was close, and we're all here for Checkmates Charities, which is the real reason that everybody's here, not only the players, but all the fans that were here. It was a great day, and we're really happy to be here.
It was fun to be out here at Northeast Skate Zone because the Checos were a pretty good team, and so we had a lot of fun with the charity. And it was good because they took it easy on us old guys. So we had a good time. So anytime you can do something for charity, and I know a couple guys on the other team, and just to be on the rink, we all go have fun.
Good times go. I'm either gone in an instant or here to the bitter, and I never know what I got.
I want to thank my family for all that they did to help me get through this, and there's a lot of planning that get done. It has to get done. I want to thank Nick's Roast Beef and Common Avenue for all they've done. Dr. Prieto for saving my life and finding the disease and treating me for so long. And the Flyers organization for all they do to help us raise money every year. So thank you.